Greetings, family. My name is Arlene, and I teach women who are frustrated to speak their truth and create harmonious relationships. And if that sounds like you, please like and subscribe, and so that you'll get the opportunity to view more content. So today, I'm going to actually talk about something that's a little off topic, but it is about relationships and specifically intimate relationships. So a couple of days ago, I was on a live and a person asked me, what did I think about the idea of submission? So on another platform that I'm a part of, there's a lot of conversation about women submitting and being in traditional roles and things of that nature. And when she asked me the question, my first question is like, well, before I actually answer your question, tell me what your definition of submission is, and I will go ahead and answer. And her response to me was that submission was pretty much, a person, a female who took care of house and home and things of that nature, and the husband is the main breadwinner. And that type of dynamic. And so I have to say that my upbringing, that idea of submission was never a thing. And the reason being is because the majority of the women in my family, um, they did not have a partner there. And as a result of them not having a partner there, the idea of submission was never a thing. And the clear narrative that I got from my family was that make sure that you have your own money, make sure that you have your own, that you don't want to be in a place of economically having to depend on anyone. And in addition to that, in terms of the roles of the men and women, everybody worked, everybody contributed, everybody was a part of making the family dynamic what it was. And if there was anything that needed to be done, regardless of whether or not you were male or female, if it was required and something that needed to be done, then it got done. The men in my family knew how to cook, they knew how to clean. They may have tinkered with some machinery, and the women did spend quite a bit of time in the kitchen, but everybody sort of, did all of the jobs on some level. Because quiet as kept, one of the things that you may not know about me is that I grew up in a very rural area. So that idea of masculine and feminine roles was not a thing. Everybody worked, everybody contributed. So submission, the idea of it just is not a thing. And she asked me about submission within my relationship. And I will say that even in the current relationship that I have right now, that is not a thing. Submission is not a thing. If anything, we work like a duet, a singing duet. And there are times when he takes the lead. There are some times when I take the lead. But we are working in concert with each other. And sometimes we are both projecting or going forward at the same time. There isn't a need for that roles or positions or whatever that looks like. And, what I will say, I don't knock the idea of people who are wanting to be in those traditional roles. I don't knock that. It's not necessarily something that would work for me. I had been in it before, And what I will say is that for those women who decide to get into that particular role, make sure that you trust your partner. Because my thought is that there are some men who get into this idea that because you are not working, that you are trapped. So that if you do get into that position, that you have another plan for yourself. Because whether or not the relationship in its of itself, he can be a little tyrannical, or the power dynamics, he is viewing it from a particular perspective, or the individual is viewing it from a particular perspective where they feel that they can just have that be like over your head and be in a sense of control, and it be about power. uh, I would say that it is best for you to have something in place for yourself. And the thing is that regardless of whether or not you decide to take that role, you're going to want to have something in place regardless, whether or not they are someone who values that type of work of taking care of the home and hearth and all of that stuff. You want to be with a person who values that. In addition to that, the thing is what if that partner is no longer there? You want to have a plan in place for yourself, because if they were to suddenly die, what would you do? You need to ask those type of questions. What if you decide to get a divorce? What would you do? What if one of the children actually became injured, and there was that it affected the household in such a way that the pervert person needed round the clock care? What would you do? My main thought is that you need to have a plan in place for if the dynamics of your relationship change, so that you're not caught flat-footed. And sometimes life will do that to you, in this, or life just in and of itself, just living, or if things change within the relationship dynamic. You want to have a strategy for how you will decide to move forward if that individual is not there. It's very important. And I speak from experience because I did live in that traditional role. It did not necessarily work for me. And he was not a person who valued my time in that way. So, with that being said, that is it for this evening and for my thoughts. And may peace and power be with you wherever you go.